I was hoping for a more cliched setting. I guess koi ponds and cherry blossoms will have to do.
The original 1997 Shadow Warrior was one of the best games of its era. A tongue-in-cheek, uber-machismo orgy of blood and gore, it was Duke Nukem 3D taken to an illogical extreme. After a 16-year hiatus, Shadow Warrior is back with a modern reboot. But in that time, video games have changed. Can the new incarnation of Shadow Warrior move the genre forward and stay true to its roots?
You got the power!
The most important thing to know about Shadow Warrior is, it's a joke. Everything from the gore-spewing, slice-them-in-half gameplay to the intentionally cheesy one-liners is for comic effect. Video game references, arcade games, rabbits humping, and dick jokes abound. It's exceedingly juvenile, but also truly funny in a moronic, guilty pleasure sort of way.
I give it a 7 on the Wangometer.
In this game, everything is a target for crude puns, up to and including the main character, Lo Wang. Wang is an assassin for a mega corporation called Zilla. He's not horribly bright, he's kind of a douchebag, but he is really good at killing everything he sees. And yes, his name is intentionally a pun. As a walking parody, he succeeds, but it's unfortunate he's a parody of a stereotype from 2 decades ago.
My name is Lo Wang. Let's make a deal.
Wang isn't alone. He's paired up with a wisecracking demon named Hoji. Hoji serves as guide throughout the game, telling Wang where to go and generally pushing him through the plot. As the game progresses, the story tries to give him a more thoughtful role, but after being so over the top, the game can't pull off anything remotely serious.
I prefer my body parts actually attached to my body. Thanks very much.
The story is a strange mix. Most of the dialogue and progression centers on Wang's quest to track down a magical sword which is responsible for an army of demons invading Earth. It's really more of a premise than a story, and one that quickly fades into the background. Then there are a handful of graphic novel-inspired cutscenes recounting the tragic backstory of the demons responsible for the invasion. They're extremely well done and a joy to watch, but they don't match the tone or visual style of the rest of the game. In the end, the story doesn't really matter, since Shadow Warrior is less about its plot than it is about killing everything you see. Combat is divided between swordplay, magic attacks, and guns. The katana has both light and heavy attacks, which seem to be designed for button mashing. Enemies can block, and it's satisfying to back off as they attack, then dash in for a kill. For most of the game, the sword is your go-to weapon, able to slice enemies in half with a satisfying amount of gratuitous gore. Guns include the standard pistol, machine gun, and shotgun, with a few more interesting weapons like the explosive crossbow, unlockable later in the game. Magic powers are gained by earning experience and progressing through the game, and a simple but functional system lets you choose your abilities. Contributing to the repetition, you'll encounter one arena after another. In each of these rectangular rooms, you'll fight one or more mini-bosses, and they're infinitely respawning minions. Far from calling on a polished attack style, these areas seem to require awkward run-and-gun combat that favors firepower over finesse. If you're yearning for an old-school shooter, Shadow Warrior will scratch that itch. It's an irreverent, low-brow celebration of unnecessary carnage. If judged by the same standards used for Duke Nukem 3D, it would be awesome. But games have changed in 16 years. Shadow Warrior is fun, at least it starts out fun, but repetition eventually morphs into boredom, and killing demons changes from a guilty pleasure to a chore. By the game's midpoint, the joy of combat has faded, the humor has worn thin, and the characters and storyline aren't strong enough to carry it to the end. Shadow Warrior does stay true to its 1990s roots, but never truly moves past them.
Talent that serves a poor master is a tree with rotted roots. It stands tall until kissed by the spring breeze.